This one exercise might be the best mobility exercise that you've never heard of. The exercise is called the seated bench press, and I have personally seen this exercise eliminate back pain, rehabilitate shoulder injuries, and restore athletic movement firsthand in the clients that I've prescribed it to. And by the way, if you don't know who I am, I've been teaching mobility training for over 4 years now after chronic joint pain and limited range of motion forced me into going through my own mobility transformation. Once I discovered the most effective methods and principles that helped me through my own journey, I decided to start putting that knowledge into videos just like this to help others who are going through their own journey. Now, the reason you've probably never heard of this exercise is because it's actually been lost in time. The bench press was very popular during the Bronze Era of weightlifting, which was from the 1890s to the 1940s. But somewhere along the line, it lost popularity. In the 70s and 80s, bodybuilding started to emerge as the new thing, and people started to move towards cable machines and muscle isolation exercises. Since the bench press required a lot more movement and mobility, it ended up getting lost in time. But looking at it through a more modern lens of strength and mobility, I think this exercise still has a lot to offer and really has the potential to fix and restore a lot of the mobility issues that are very prevalent today. Now, the old school variation of the bench press is meant to be performed standing up, but I've found that modifying the exercise to work from a seated position offers a lot more stability, which makes the exercise a little less demanding on our balance and coordination, so we can really maximize the strength and mobility benefits of the movement. The goal of the seated bench press is to bring a weight from shoulder level to a straight arm overhead position with one hand using the muscles of the back, hips, and arm in unison. The key to this exercise is maximizing our mobility through the rotation and side bending action of our trunk. So to set this exercise up, all we're going to need is a box, bench, or chair that we can sit on that keeps our hips slightly above parallel, and we'll also need a dumbbell or kettlebell. Now, before I break down how to execute the movement, I think it's worth mentioning that this exercise is ideally intended to be done with a decent amount of weight. Of course, we're going to want to start on the lighter end of the spectrum, using a weight that's appropriate for your current level of ability that you're comfortable moving into an overhead position with. But the idea behind this exercise is to learn how to use our mobility to move our body around the weight through maximum rotation. And this isn't going to happen unless you have enough weight to actually stabilize and move around. Because for most people, a 5-pound dumbbell isn't going to do much for you with this exercise. Since you can easily press that up with your shoulder, you're not going to need to leverage much of your mobility to actually achieve a lockout. So I would recommend starting with approximately 15 to 20 pounds or around 10 kilograms, and then gradually explore adding more weight from there as you get more familiar with the movement pattern. Now, with that in mind, let's go over how to perform this exercise. We're going to be seated with our legs just outside of hip width so that we have some space to move, and starting with the weight across our body, we're going to twist our chest towards the side that's holding the weight, using our opposite arm to grab the knee and pull us further into rotation with the intention of getting the weight behind our hips. From here, we're going to keep the hand on our knee to offer a little added support and stability as we continue to bend down underneath the weight until the pressing arm is fully extended. Then to complete the lift, we're going to do a slight corkscrew to get underneath the weight with the arm locked out, holding the weight overhead. By using our torso and shoulders together like this, locking out into an overhead position becomes more of a trunk mobility exercise rather than a shoulder press. We are still pressing the weight with our arm, but we're using the changing position of our rib cage bending away from the weight to help us achieve a lockout through our setup and mobility rather than just pressing the weight out with brute force. When it comes to progressively overloading this exercise, as I mentioned earlier, we'll want to start on the lighter side while we're learning the movement and technique, and then incrementally increase the weight that we're using over time, just like we would with any other lift. But once you understand the technique, this exercise has a much greater overall loading potential compared to other types of one-hand presses. Since you're able to manipulate your position and use the leverage of your whole body in order to lift the weight, you can get weights overhead that would otherwise overload your shoulders in a stricter pressing variation. The bench press was a staple of the old-time strongmen who were prominent in the Bronze Era, and it has been said that more weight can be lifted with one hand in this manner than a typical two-handed overhead barbell press. Now, just for context, the official world record for the bench press is 371 pounds or 168 kilograms by Arthur Saxon. But there were supposedly unofficial reports of him bench pressing over 400 fucking pounds. Either way, both of those numbers are absolutely ridiculous. Now, obviously we don't need to be setting any records here, but when the exercise is progressed and performed correctly, you might be surprised at how much weight you can actually lift in this manner and how much it improves your overall strength and mobility. A good milestone that I believe is worth working towards would be doing 5 reps with around 30 to 35% of your body weight in additional load. It might take you a little while to get there, but if you're able to hit that standard, I would say you're at a pretty high level of general strength and mobility through the upper body. So that's it for today's video. I hope this exercise serves you as well as it has served me and my clients. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more flexibility content just like this, and thanks for watching.